around, you found out. You did.
What's up, guys? It's Benny. Let's say you're an actress who can't act, you're not even hot, but through a miracle and a lot of DEI hiring, you get a chance to be a star in Hollywood. You're literally living the dream. You get cast as a Disney princess, and then you lose the studio hundreds of millions of dollars because you can't keep your yapper shut, and your insufferable girl boss narcissism repulses every member of the audience who would have bought a ticket. Maybe you would consider your life choices at that moment and not to be an entitled snob, but you can't help yourself because, well, that's who God made you. So you post content like this.
2 tickets, please.
For which movie?
This is Rachel Zegler in an empty theater with her friends, holding up popcorn and soda pop cups with her face on it, her ugly mug, as the cashier doesn't know who she is. She's buying tickets to Snow White. How did that go? Well, they continue the legendary run of L's by posting this video inside of the theater itself. I don't want to do this anymore. I can't take any more Rachel Zegler videos. This is Rachel Zegler cheering for herself and giggling hysterically at the sight of her own name. There is truly no cure for insufferable terminal narcissism, except for maybe Andrew Tate, ladies and gentlemen, who also watched Snow White in a theater by himself. You didn't think that there was a similarity or a tie between Andrew Tate and Rachel Zegler, but here it is. Andrew Tate rented an entire theater to go by himself and watch Snow White, and here's a little snippet of how it went.
Bitch can sing, bruv. This bitch can sing. If she'd shut the up and just stick to singing, this would be the most popular movie in the world. Instead, she's running her mouth, talking about her opinion. No, who wants to hear a woman's opinions? Anybody? Anyone? No, didn't think so. Shut the up and sing. I've seen her sing in other videos. She can actually sing. I'll give it to her. She can sing. But this movie sucks.
Yeah, good job, you see.
Okay. I would pay anything to watch Rachel Zegler and Andrew Tate watch the movie together. And I'm sure that Disney would as well, because, well, maybe people would actually watch that. They're certainly not watching Snow White. Snow White is now down 77% week over week. It is a catastrophe. It only made $3 million this past weekend. It is a true flop in every sense of the word. It is a nightmare that is currently being humiliated by the movie Working Man, a Jason Statham, high-octane, high-adrenaline action flick. It's getting destroyed because of Rachel Zegler, but also because of the people who produced it. And we're going to get to that in just a second. Snow White will make just $14 million in week 2 of the box office, which means Disney is definitely going to lose hundreds of millions of dollars on this movie. The original 1937 Snow White made $4 billion, inflation adjusted. The 2025 remake will lose $250 million or more. Jason Statham's Working Man, $15 million opening puts Snow White to sleep. You gotta love it. So the producers have attacked Rachel Zegler. Snow White producer's son slams immature Rachel Zegler, clearly hurt the film. Producer Mark Platt's son, Jonah, posted and deleted a scathing commentary on the Disney star. Oh my. In the commentary, effectively, he says, listen, this is called adult responsibility and accountability. Her actions hurt the film's box office. Free speech does not mean you're allowed to say whatever you want in your private employment, with repercussions to tens of thousands of people who worked on the film. She hijacked the conversation with her own immature desires to risk all of her colleagues and crew and blue-collar workers who depend on the movie to be successful. Boom. Somebody who knows the Hollywood movie business, at least a little bit, he was in Joker 2, right, is comedian Tim Dillon. He's been cast in a massive, big-budget film, right? He was a prison guard in that horrible flop. So he knows a thing or two about this. Comedian Tim Dillon rips Rachel Zegler, comparing herself to a Greek masterpiece, Snow White bombs, somebody has to put her in a cage. The only reason I said all that, right, leading up to this is that, if she had been in a cage, if she'd kept her yapper shut, then Disney's Snow White would have made $1 billion. It just would have. Through all the marketing, they could have really fixed this thing. I mean, obviously, it was a piece of garbage movie, which is why I don't forgive the producers or feel sorry for them at all. They agreed to all this trash. It's a piece of garbage. The producer also, the guys who were complaining about Rachel Zegler, they produced the woke new Little Mermaid, right? Same thing. Same thing. It's completely woke. It's completely reductive. It's something that they're dead set on destroying American cinema and culture. So don't feel sorry for these people. However, there are innocent people who worked on the film itself, actual blue-collar workers, who won't get paid now because of Rachel Zegler. And for that, you should listen to Tim Dillon here. Disney. Here we go.
Part of the problem is that they come up with these movies like Snow White. They ruin the movie. And then you have this bitch. I mean, these are when actors and actresses talk, you realize that they're the biggest losers in the world. Now, the reason that we can tolerate that is because we don't know that. They read words written by other people. And all of their appearances are carefully managed and choreographed. But when they go off book and they start telling us who they are, we realize they suck and we hate them. And that's what's really destroying Hollywood. Sure, there's a million reasons. But the biggest thing, these people, when just given the chance, completely fuck everything by talking. And if they would just shut their mouth, no one is asking these people to talk. No one is pleading with them for their opinions on anything. No one cares. But they feel compelled because they're watching the people on the internet talk and get a following, being authentic, being themselves, or being some version of themselves, or whatever. That being said, these people go, oh, I'll do that. I'll weigh in. And they make a big mess. And everybody hates it. Someone has to put her in a cage. Someone has to put her in a cage. I mean, there's no other way to say it. She should not be allowed out if she's going to behave like this while she has a movie out. You have to put these people in a cage. If you cannot keep your mouth shut, you have to get locked in a cage until we put a lot of money into this film. We put a lot of money into this film, and if you cannot participate in the promotional rollout, we're putting you in a cage. We're locking you in a room until you learn how to be, with all my flaws. I hope at every premiere, people buy tickets. They're all crazy. They're all psychotic. It's insane. They're all little Hitlers. Despite my flaws, I hope at every premiere. It's like, I mean, they're always acting. They're not humans. They're not people. They must be put in a cage for their own good. For their own good.
Tim Dillon is just trying to help. He's just trying to help. By the way, when he's talks about the Greek masterpiece, this is the clip that he's referencing.
Who hates when I win. The winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces, and people still line up to see her. And I can only hope that despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them, that at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
They didn't. What are you talking? You had your movie bombed. Your movie is being beaten right now by The Last Supper, a re-release of The Chosen: The Last Supper, a Jesus documentary. That's a good thing. And clearly nobody's lining up to see you. In fact, you're standing in line by yourself.
For which movie?
You're standing in line by yourself with your garbage friends who are allowing you to do this and post these massive, humiliating L's. So, listen, I say this regularly. The world would be a better place if we listened to Tim Dillon. And Disney would have been smarter if they listened to Tim Dillon and had done so in the first place. Tim Dillon, ladies and gentlemen, talking about, before this was actually released, what a nightmare Disney has on their hands. Disney's in big trouble. Rachel Zegler, who's in Hamas, and Gal Gadot, who's in the IDF. Here you go.
But here's what I mean. Look at this Cinderella, or Snow White, rather. This thing's, Disney's in big trouble here. And again, because you have Rachel Zegler, who's in Hamas, and Gal Gadot, who's in the IDF. They're stars of the movie, and they're on both sides of the Middle East, and the both sides of the Middle Eastern conflict. And there's no fucking dwarfs, because Peter Dinklage from Game of Thrones opened his mouth and said, this is fucked up, having dwarves in the movie called Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. So now we got a lot of pro-Palestine, a lot of pro-Israel, and no fucking dwarfs in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. So now Disney doesn't know what the hell's going on, because Rachel Zegler is coming out and screaming from the river to the sea, or whatever she does. And, Gal Gadot's doing her whole thing, lighting infants on fire. And there's no dwarfs. So my whole thing is, does it seem like a fun film? Does it seem like a fun film? I want to see dwarfs. I don't want the Middle East conflict. I want dwarfs.